I am near, I think, Harrodsburg, Kentucky, and I am at the Shaker Village at Pleasant Hill. This is one of the largest Shaker villages in the country. This was a religious group, originated in England, then they came here to America, and they had some communities in New England and also here in Kentucky. And this is one of the largest, and it's all preserved as a museum, so it's gonna be very cool. In front of the village is a historical marker. This is a big one. It tells about the Shakers and how they ended up here in Kentucky. They came here because a lot of different religions were settling out here around 1800. They thought they could get plenty of converts with the Kentucky revivals and all of that. Apparently some of General John Hunt Morgan's cavalry came through here, and Shakers had to hide their horses because he stole everyone's horses. The welcome center inside the 1815 carpenter shop. Yeah, there's a Shaker kitty in here. This is the 1839 trustees office. The trustees were like the financial leaders of the community, and I guess visitors to the village would stay in this building. There's a double spiral staircase in this building.
It'll be right outside at the sandwich board where it says programs gather here. Thank you.
That's down the spiral staircase. Now this is quite an interesting feature. I don't think I've seen anything quite like it. With the curved roof along with the window. It's very interesting. This is breakfast Shaker style. So I'll talk a little bit more about the Shakers. And this is a communal religious community here. They're kind of like the Quakers in their religious beliefs. They believe in like a second coming of Jesus. But they get the name Shakers because along with having a usual Quaker service, they shake. So that's where the name Shakers comes from. And then I guess they're like a borderline communist society. You eat with people, sleep with other people. There's also gender divisions. I mean, things are fairly equal between genders, you know, each respected, they all had important roles to play here. But yeah, you had to eat with everyone, you slept with other people, couldn't really get away from other people. So, I don't know, I find it unusual that here in rural Kentucky, they celebrate a borderline communist society where individualism didn't really exist. That's anti-American. Another important aspect of the village in terms of the buildings and architecture is that everything had to be simple. So there's not going to be any extravagant architecture here. All these are pretty simple old houses. Everything had to have a practical function. This is the oldest permanent structure here in the village. This is called the Farm Deacon's House, built in 1809. It housed the ministry and the Center family. Originally that became a shop. This is an old sign that says Lexington 26 miles, Harrodsburg 7, Perryville 17. That's pretty cool. The plump bob was used to ensure buildings were plump or vertical. It's a level. They were used for construction, and clippers were used to measure one side of an object to another. A cherry and poplar slant top desk. This was likely a carpenter's work stand, and this was a secretary desk. And this is one of the best examples of practicality. In almost every room in the village, along the walls are these pegs. You can see they would put all sorts of things on there, like their candle stands and chairs. So the Shakers existed in the late 18th century and the early 19th century. They were at their prime. And then they started declining to the 19th century and the 20th century because they had some strict sex laws, so they didn't reproduce much. Also, people realized not a fun way to live. Today, from my understanding, there are only 2 Shakers left who follow the codes and the societal rules. They are at the Sabbath Day Lake Village in Maine. And then when they die, that'll be the last of the Shakers. This is the Center family dwelling. About 100 members would have lived in here, and it was gender separated through the middle. I guess it's the largest building here. Unfortunately, it is under construction. I can't go inside. This right here was the water house. Pleasant Hill was the first Shaker village in the West to have a public water system. So yeah, this was their indoor gravity-forced water system. See, they had a giant water barrel up there. This is pretty interesting. I don't think I've ever been to a museum that has a water system this old. This is 1833. And this was a Brethren's bathhouse. There would have been a few of these around the village. They were gender separated. So the sisters didn't get their own bathhouse. They got the wash house to do their bathing. But they at least got hot water there. Apparently, you could only get cold water here in the Brethren's bathhouse. And I mean, would you just like sit naked in here, like a locker room? Here's a bunch of hay bales. This is the 1817 East family dwelling. So these dwelling buildings are based on the location. So I already showed you the center one that was in the center of Pleasant Hill. This one's on the east side. So this is where the residents of the east side lived in. So you can see how about 100 different people could live in each of the dwelling structures. They're pretty big. This is the Brethren's shop where the brethren, the men, would work furniture and stuff in here. So in here they exhibit Shaker modern furniture. So this is an antique Shaker furniture, but I guess they show Shaker influences on today's modern furniture that's mass produced and that a lot of people have in their houses. Now, one Shaker influence that's really big is, I guess, minimalism. In recent years has become more popular, and the Shakers were clearly very minimalist and only using spaces for practical uses. So that Shaker aspect is becoming quite popular in modern society. See, they would hang everything that they didn't need on the walls. Really is a good idea. Here's the 1847 Cooper's shop. That's where they make cedar pails, buckets, churns, all that stuff. So games were legal in Shaker society. You can play checkers. I hate this game. Inside the Cooper shop, looks just like all the other rooms in the other buildings. I guess they show broom making. That's right there is a broom press. The Shakers are famous for manufacturing good brooms as opposed to bad brooms. Here you can see the materials the building is made out of. So we've got plaster on the outside, some wood, and Is that more plaster? I don't know. And this is the East family's wash house. This is where the sisters worked, did all the laundry and all that stuff. Very fun. There's a cabinet, a shaker dress, and this thing right here is a shaker style washing machine. Yeah, that must have sucked. Huh, that's a shaker wheelchair. It's an 1856 sewing machine. Saturday table, secretary desk back there. And this is a fruit slicing bench. Yeah, they really made practical use out of everything. They used bones like this. Was it to carve buttons? A Swedish trunk used by immigrants who came to Pleasant Hill. So there were immigrant shakers here. That's pretty cool. There's the Pleasant Hill mailbox. If shoes could talk. I believe a loom house would have been here because there are mulberry trees here that grew silkworms. This is the East family sisters shop where they would do sewing and those types of things. Shaker seeds. Here's two different types of fencing they use. So they had the classic white farm fence over there, and these are rock walls. They still have a working farm at Pleasant Hill. Looks like they're growing peppers. These are American guinea hogs. Apparently it's using dirt. Alright, looks like I can go inside the big barn here. So this is the inside. It doesn't seem too different from a non-shaker barn. There's some old agricultural equipment. There's like a little goat. I hope it's a goat. I think it's a goat. Looks like a goat to me. Yeah, that's not food. Here's the old post office. Now it's in the sunlight. There's a pig hay bale. It's a pig. 1821 Ministries workshop. Can't go in that building.
Yeah.
And here's the center of the community. This is the 1820 meeting house building where they had their services. So this is where the services happen, right here. They'd also host dances as part of the spirituality experience of the shaker. So they'd have them right on this very floor. So on the second floor, this is where the ministry members live, so like the religious heads of the community got to live in this building. It's just a bunch of empty rooms, really. And this is the attic of the meeting house. I have to come up here. Very cool. Definitely smells old and stuffy up here. Love that smell.
Different songs similar to that one and doing these spontaneous shaking motions. Well, that's why people didn't call them what the Shakers called themselves, the United Society of Believers in Christ's Second Appearing. Look at those silly people shaking. You may too have walked by and thought, what in tarnation is happening here in our city? People weren't sure who these people were. They assumed they liked to shake, so that's why they got the term shaker in the early days. It didn't even have harmony in it, because harmony took away the unity of the song. You could only sing in melody because they didn't want people distracted by, oh, is my voice blending? Am I on pitch with the rest of the people in my group? Well, if everyone's singing the same note, then you can focus on the lyrics and the heart of worship. When you came to a worship service, you would not have seen any musical instruments because they believed that the human voice was God's only perfect instrument because God himself had taken his hands and had crafted it. How I love thee, pretty love and tune young to me rolls, pretty love and tune young must have thee, pretty love and tune young fills my soul, stay with me the lovely treasure, stay with me forever. Stay with me that time forever. Pretty love, Dunya may adore. So if you were married, well, you were no longer married when you became a shaker. You are now brothers and sisters in Christ. If you had just bought a farm a few years ago and had started a homestead, we'll say hasta la vista. Because you can't bring that with you into heaven. So it was hard for people to make that decision, but the Shakers only wanted the people who were truly devout. It's easier for a camel to get through the eye of people than for the rich man to get to heaven. And if you like your stuff that much, then you don't belong with us. So when people here in Kentucky who were living in log cabins came on their horses through the middle of this village, they thought this was like the lap of luxury. These people were in very beautiful clothes. Ladies, the average Shaker woman in the mid-1900s or mid-1800s had over 100 dresses. So you did not have a few pieces of clothing. And the average Shaker lived, on average, about 10 years longer than most people because they were very healthy. They were dividing the labor up amongst the group rather than an individual family having to do all the work themselves. So though there were sacrifices, there was much to be gained. And when the Shakers came here to Kentucky in the year 1805, they were hoping that some of these pioneers would see the beauty of what it was to be a Shaker. And the Shakers wanted to meet people where they were at. Here in Kentucky, you had people that had cultural roots in Scotland, Ireland, and England. And so they have a rich musical tradition, especially a song form called the ballad. We've all heard ballads. Oh, Danny boy, the pipes are calling. Little did you know, Danny Boy has like 10 verses. You only know like probably 2 or 3. Ballads are very, very, very long. They tell stories. They would be sung maybe at a gathering to entertain people. And so Shakers were thinking, well, if we steal some of their songs, just tweak the lyrics to our own purposes, they're going to hear that melody, their ears are going to perk up, and they're going to come over and listen. But we're actually going to be telling them a story about our version of our story of converting to Shakerism, the beauties of Shakerism, an allegory from the Bible. And he was awful curious about these Shakers because some people really love them. They're saying, Samuel Hoosier, the Shakers are the most devout, righteous, and holy people that all Christians should look to as a model of proper faith. And then you had other people saying, Samuel Hoosier, don't listen to them. The Shakers are sacrilegious heretics that need to be kicked out of the country. So these two opposite opinions, Samuel was like, you know what? I'm not gonna judge a book by its cover. I'm gonna go visit them and stay with them and make my own opinion of it based upon the fruit I see in their lives. So he went up to Ohio, right outside of Cincinnati, where there was a new Shaker village being established called Union Village, and he wrote a song during his stay there. And so rather than tell you how he felt about the Shakers, I'm going to sing his own words for you. And I'll go ahead and warn you, this battle is on the short end with 11 verses. And I'm feeling like I'm in a good mood today after the sun came out. So I'm only going to sing 3, so you won't be in misery. But here's what we're Samuel Hoosier's hymn. I often heard of Shakers while in my native land, that they were a dead and bewitched band. Such awful news was spreading to all to relate how wicked they were acting in the Ohio State. No English, Ohio. And I went amongst them to see how they went on. I quickly was convinced that those reports were wrong. I found they were a people such as I'd never seen, so bright, so pure, so holy, so much opposed to sin. How blessed are these people who are admitted in, and was secure in Zion, delivered from all sin. Their joys are still increasing, their songs are always new. They love their great Creator and all their brethren too. Oh, my pretty one's home, sweeter than the honey in the comb. Oh, my pretty one's home, sweeter than the honey in the comb. Come, love, pretty love, come, love, come, pretty love, I'm a song. Come, love, pretty love, come, love, come, oh, come, love, pretty love, I'm a song. Oh, my pretty mother's home, sweeter than the honey in the comb. Oh, my pretty mother's home, sweeter than the honey in the comb. 'Tis the gift to be simple, 'tis the gift to be free, 'tis the gift to come down where we ought to be. And when we find ourselves in the place just right, 'twill be in the valley of love and delight. When true simplicity is gained, to bow and to bend we shan't be ashamed. To turn, 'twill be our delight till by turning we come round
This is the old stone house built in 1811, making it one of the oldest buildings at Pleasant Hill. Also, Dr. Pennebaker's office. I do have to say, Shakertown is very well preserved. I really am enjoying myself exploring around here. They have a lot of buildings that you can go into, and it's just a beautiful setting, so definitely enjoying myself. And this is the West family dwelling, the home of the members who lived on the west side. Now that I can kind of see how they lived in their little utopian society here, I gotta say, it's pretty boring. I mean, you lived in here, you ate in here, you're around people constantly. I'm not a big fan of people. Then you just went out to the outbuildings and worked, and that's what you did every day. Pretty bland life. But of course I can understand the want for a utopian and equal society. Absolutely understand that. Just looks exactly like the East family dwelling on the inside. Shaker door handles are interesting. All of them are like this, where you pull up, it unlocks, then you open. It's kind of sharp. This is the 1862 dry house. So basically like apples and peaches and squash were dried in here. Yeah. And that's the West family wash house. Looks like there was a meeting in progress. Okay, so I guess we can't go in there. This building is the preserve shop to preserve sweetmeats and stuff like that. The room has an exhibit on food preservation. That's a fruit peeler and a fruit press. It's a cider press. Just in this building they would do jams and jellies as well as sweetmeats. And this is what they would store their food in. Can't go inside the sister shop either. And this is the West Side's communal privy. So that means all approximately 100 members at the peak time have had to go to the bathroom together in this little shack. Screw that. Here's the old ministry shop and a scale house back there. That's an 1854 corn crib and some other buildings. Like here's another goat field. Yeah, I'm talking about you. Goats. But I prefer goats on roofs.
Janik. This is Rita, by the way.
Okay. The outskirts of Shakertown. And here's a secret most visitors are not aware of. I found the Shaker Cemetery. So this is the graveyard of a lot of the members of the Shaker community at Pleasant Hill. Mostly unmarked graves. The first burial in this graveyard was in 1811, so all of these graves are super old. Emily Gross is one of few to have names on theirs. She died in 1886, so I assume this is one of the latest graves, so that's why she has her name on it. And she died in 1892, so all the other graves around here are unmarked, because I guess, I don't think they believed really in having gravestones. This one's broken. So night has fallen at the Shaker village of Pleasant Hill, and you may be wondering why I'm here at the museum at night. Well, I'm actually staying in the 1817 East family dwelling tonight. Yeah, this is going to be very unique, sleeping in the historic Shaker buildings Gonna be living like a shaker tonight. It's very dark here, so they do keep it how it was at night in the Shaker Village 150 years ago. Yeah, so I'm staying in a 201-year-old building that was actually lived in by the Brethren of the Shakers. So when this was the East family dwelling, this room was the dining room, and now because the building's an inn, it's the lobby. These aren't really of furniture. They still kept it very plain and simple. This was the kitchen. This is an arch kettle, which you used to cook. They would put wood down there. And here's just a big fireplace. Wow, this is a bake oven. Shakers use these corner cabinets to inspire others to efficiently use all space available. And there's another upside down chair. This is the inside at night. It's very quiet. I guess here they show you the different materials they use. You have wood, brick, and the plaster. Hey, that's not of period. This is my room in the old Shaker dwelling. Got them Shaker furniture here. In the wall in my room, there's a little oven. Okay, now it's in focus. Don't think it's been used in quite a while. It's still pretty cool. Alright, so that was the Shaker Village at Pleasant Hill. Very cool place. I've never been to a Shaker Village before. This is usually considered the best one, but there are a few others out there. Very cool. Definitely one of the best living history type places I've been to. I really enjoy it here and also staying here. Very, very cool. If you like this video, you like museums, then please subscribe and go watch my other videos. And thanks for watching.